of our Torah. Uh, this week's Parsha, we come to the two stories that are intertwined, the story of Yosef and the story of Yehuda. And it's very interesting that these two narratives are intertwined with each other because the whole story of both of them has to do with them facing a big problem that men have. Yosef, as we know, is sent down to Egypt. He's sold into slavery. He gets a nice, cushy job with Potiphar's house. Potiphar realizes this guy knows what he's doing. He makes him the master of all the other slaves. But Yosef is extremely good looking, and Mrs. Potiphar decides that she wants him to have an affair with him. She wants to have an affair with him, except he rejects it. And for that reason, she gets very upset, accuses him of attacking her. So he's sent to prison because he refused to have a sexual liaison with Potiphar's wife. On the other hand, we have the whole story of Yehuda and Tamar, where Tamar is supposed to marry Yehuda's son. He doesn't want to have relations with her. He dies. Same thing. He spills his seed, as we know. He dies, and Yehuda has another son, but he doesn't want her to marry Tamar because look at the two of my sons are dead. I don't want this for my next son. There's a record here. So, but Tamar sees that she wants to get into Yehuda's family. She sees that Yehuda is a real leader. So she devises a plan. She appears as a harlot, and Yehuda goes with her. And then he gives her his staff in lieu of money, I guess, and says, "Return the staff, and you'll be paid." Well, she gets pregnant. The townspeople take her to Yehuda, say, "Look at your daughter-in-law Tamar. She's a harlot. She got pregnant. She has to be put on trial. Yehuda is the judge, and Tamar says to Yehuda, 'I want to speak to you privately, in chambers.'" So it's just Tamar and Yehuda there. And she says, "The owner of this staff is the father of my child, or children, in this case. It was twins." And Yehuda realizes it's his staff. So he comes out and announces, "She's more righteous than I am because she also gave me an out. I could have, said, no, I don't recognize this," and killed her. But instead, he admitted to his guilt. And this is where Yehuda gets the Malchut, because from that liaison, Tamar has twins. Its Peretz is one of the twins, and he is the ancestor of David. So this whole story shows us that Yehuda has humility. He understands that as a leader, he has to take responsibility for himself. Much like, if you know American history, there was a case in early American history that Alexander Hamilton had an affair with a lady. And her husband decided he'd bribed Alexander Hamilton. He was like you can continue having an affair with my wife, but you got to pay me. And then the husband was also, this is all true. There may have been. But anyway, then he gets accused of some crime, and he says, "Oh, I got inside information about Alexander Hamilton." Well, Alexander Hamilton did something that people don't expect. He admitted to the affair, giving the information over to his arch political enemy, Thomas Jefferson, knowing that it will be used against him. But he became respected because he admitted his guilt. Much like in the 90s, by the way, there's a congressman, from a Republican congressman from a very religious area in Indiana, who they sent up, and this was during the whole Bill Clinton affair. They sent information to the press that, I know, that um, he had an affair, got his secretary pregnant. So he said, okay, I'll speak to the press, but under one major condition. You do not mention the woman or the child. What happened was when he was early in his career, he as a secretary working late, one thing led to another, she got pregnant. He paid, he never denied the child. If you went to his website, it said that he had two children, had three children. He mentions two, and one is anonymous. And by the way, he was reelected in a landslide because people understood mistakes happen. He was humble enough to acknowledge his mistake. And that's something very important for us to know about leadership. When they make a mistake, they have to admit it, they have to be humble. Something to think about. Kaddish Shabbat.